But before we start the review, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment below and join the discussion here on Cell Reviews. And also don't forget to tune in for the Korean Bloggers podcast, which happens every Monday and Thursday.
Bad bitch look good in some nice pants. Bet my bitch look good in some nice pants. Niggas see me, they be like, shit, goddamn, AK-47 tucked in that nice pants. Hold on.
Hello and welcome back to Sartistik TV. I go by the name of Tisa and we're back for another review on Cell Reviews. And today we are reviewing the none other than Tyler the Creator on his new album called IGOR. I'm gonna put the off-album talk aside, like with the whole DJ Khaled thing. I'm never gonna comment on that. What I'm gonna focus on today is pretty much the theories that has been brought up by this album. And to be honest, these are the albums I love. I'm not going to compare this to any of his previous work like Cherry Bomb or Flower Boy, because this is my entry point to Tyler the Creator, as I am a bit sad to say, because I wish I actually listened to this artist a bit before this review, if that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is I have heard Cherry Bomb and Flower Boy, but because this was the album that kind of reverse engineered back to Flower Boy then Cherry Bomb, I don't think it's fair for me to try and compare as if I lived in that time that he released Flower Boy or Cherry Bomb. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, this album, I personally I give it a vinyl rating. Like straight away off the bat, go and buy this record. You are not going to be disappointed. And with that being said, I'm going to it's not really going to be a review like I said earlier. It's more of going to be my own theory. So if you haven't heard the album yet, I really highly suggest you listen to that first before I get into it, because I was really excited when I had this theories bubbling up. I've listened to it ever since its release. I haven't stopped listening to it, and I still have ongoing theories in my head of what it could be, but I've settled on these three possibilities. So again, you've been warned. Go listen to the album, enjoy it, then come back and watch the review, whatever. Or if you don't care, stick around. But basically, yes, this album, it pretty much starts off well with IGOR's theme. I pretty much think that IGOR is pretty much Tyler the Creator's alter ego, and this is not I don't know how Tyler is in real life, but I'm gonna take a stab at it and say, for the purpose of this theory that I'm pulling out, I personally think that there's three things at work here. One, he's created one auto timeline where things is moving smoothly, and he's actually moved on from the love that he's experienced in Earthquake, which, as you know, what Earthquake would do, once it hits, it pretty much causes devastation and is left for you to reel up and pretty much try and repair your life from then on. Obviously, Earthquake being a metaphor, a lover in this case, in this context, it's a lover that's entered his life and pretty much caused a devastating effect. That was the alternate timeline where he has moved on, and I really believe this because of the fact that it started off as a present day kind of theme, like, how could you leave me, like, sort of thing. It gave you that it gave me that impression as if this was happening right now in a constant. However, as the track goes on, it started to sound as if it started to sound like this person has he's like by near the end of the track, I started to get the idea that, oh, okay, this person has caused this problem, and where is Tyler going from here? It was pretty much the next track that pretty much brought around these theories, and it was I think pretty much it served as a flashback for IGOR in this perspective. I personally think that IGOR is Tyler's alter ego, which is stuck in the alternate timeline. If I didn't say that already, I think I did, but I may have IGOR is kind of stuck in an alternate timeline. It's kind of the Tyler the Creator, which is searching for love. Basically, he's searching for love in this alternate timeline, and I'm gonna explain that a bit more as we go on to review, whilst Tyler is pretty much the one that is stuck in the current timeline. I think pretty much it served as a flashback the way it began. I personally think that it was a flashback because, you know, it's kind of in my head, it gave me the image of this is what I've been through, and this is how it kind of began. I had that image already, but the way that the track actually ended, but there was one line that really stuck out to me, and this was the line of, "I think this will last forever." And I'm thinking in my head, if I think it's a flashback, why would he say "I think this will last forever" when earthquake had already happened? What do you mean last forever? So I was thinking in my head, okay, it could be a flashback where he's thinking of, okay, like this is what he was feeling at the time that he was flashing back. But at the same time, I personally think is when he's actually moved on, and this also serves in the title, where with the title "I think," because it's actually in this case, it's moved on, found someone else already. Like he hasn't really taken the time, or maybe the devastation hasn't even happened yet. You know what I mean? This is just him trying to find love, and he in this alternate timeline, he didn't go through the devastation that has been caused here. So in a way, that devastation doesn't exist, and all this is happening in, I personally think that all this is happening in Tyler's mind in order for him to like kind of come to terms with the whole devastation that's been caused by this individual, whoever that may be. The interlude, when he says exactly what you run from and you end up chasing, this actually presented a lot of dissonance in my head. I was thinking, how does that make you end up chasing what you're running from? But in the context of this theory that I have, in the context of these, or of the story that's here, I'm gonna take a stab and actually say that it's again, going back to the theory, the alternate reality that he was trying to run away from love. He was chasing love. He was chasing love. It turned out to be a great reveal, in the sense that if he was chasing love, that meant and like the earthquake didn't happen, that meant that it did happen, but obviously it's created this alternate timeline. You end up finding that he's running away from he's chasing what is exactly he's running from, which was the devastation that was caused by love. So he's now chasing the love in this alternate timeline, and we ended up facing we ended up seeing that he ends up facing the same problems again, which I end up seeing that he was causing devastation to other people's lives by always telling them exactly the same kind of by causing the same earthquake that he was caused, which was, this ain't gonna work out no more, or I don't love you no more. All of these themes were actually explored. And the next track, Running Out of Time, I mean, going by track by this, it really got me to really admire the artistry that's gone into this, the thought, the concept behind this alone. It was really exquisite. I was ecstatic. I was really ecstatic because he balanced this, like, in considering my theory, right? Considering the fact that he's created an alternate reality in order for him to escape from the devastation that was caused by this one person, or by this lover that he has had. And he's also juggling with that and keeping this constant throughout the album. I thought this was amazing, especially in the track Running Out of Time. Running Out of Time, he was trying to convince himself here that he still has time. I mean, if you're looking back in a flashback kind of narrative, he's trying to convince himself he still has time to save whatever love this is. There's so much going on here, and also it also plays as well in the alternate timeline where he's also trying to find love, and he's like, he feels like he's running out of time. He feels like he needs to settle down. He feels like he needs, like, he wants that person that will give him love. There's so much that's actually explored in this as well that I managed to realize, especially with A Boy with a Gun. Kind of brought in the narrative of how childhood can affect our perception on love, which, again, if we're going by the alternate timeline where he's actually looking for love, and he's actually searching for love, you can see how this plays a part because of that love addiction that can come from abandonment, that can come from, you know, being as an anxious kind of as an anxious attachment style. I mean, if I doubt many people on here know much about attachment styles, so I'm just gonna give a quick overview. There is anxious, there is avoidant, and then there is secure. Anxious is the one that wants love, but once they get it, they start to fear that they will lose it. Avoidant is the one that wants love, but they try to avoid displaying emotions in any way. You can go read up about it, Google it. In this track, it's not like it was a theme of the entire album. It was just explored in one track that I realized that just by a title alone. Yeah, it was called "A Boy Is a Gun." So with this in mind, I was thinking, why would he say a boy is a gun? I was trying to link it to so many ways. Okay, maybe women use boys as guns. That didn't make sense at all. In the end, you start to think, okay, why is he talking about a boy here when all of a sudden we've been dealing about grown issues? There was a lot of interpretations from this track alone, but in the context of what we're talking about, it pretty much shows that he is basically going through this cycle because of whatever is going on in his childhood. This is my theory on it, so I don't really know. And because he hasn't really had time to develop into a man in this, he hasn't really had time to work on his traumas, etc. That's what the alternate reality is serving. So he hasn't really experienced this earthquake because he hasn't really dealt with the initial trauma that's been caused by his childhood. So therefore, he is basically fighting in every relationship he's been through. It also plays a part as well in the present timeline, not just in the alternate timeline where he's chasing a new love. I mean, even the track itself, a New Magic One, suggests that he has been given a new chance to live, meaning it kind of also brings to light as well the alternate reality that this is the bargain that he's made in order for him to explore a different possibility as what if the earthquake. But keeping to the fact that this reality was created the minute after earthquake had finished, this gives a duality in the sense that in his current timeline, where he's basically flashing back, he's pretty much wishing, or is waving the wand, so to speak, that the problems that he's facing right now could literally go away. So we kind of see a duality going on here, where one has taken a step to ignore the problems that has been created, and the other is actually dealing with the problems. Because like the more you look at it, if he's flashing back, if he is taking the time to look back into the history of the relationship that he's been in, it suggests growth. But at the same time, if you're looking to avoid it and just move forward as if nothing has happened, that shows that you still need to have a lot of growing to do. Like, you haven't really taken the time to assess the situation, and you're basically addicted to love, which goes back to love addiction and attachment styles, which I don't think that was a present theme in this album, but I think it was interesting that he brought that in there, like I said before. But yeah, going back on it, going through the current timeline where he is reflecting, you can see, like, with a boy is a gun, you can see that it also symbolizes the fact that relationship is full of war. It's a battle of different roles, it's a battle of love and approval, battle of so many things that are going on. Like, it also comes into a war zone where a lot of your childhood issues are being presented in the forefront, and the duality again, for Tyler to keep up the duality for this long, it's amazing. Because in Puppet, it gives with this theory, it gives two additional thoughts to it, which is he is controlling everyone that he's going into a relationship with, or in the alternate reality this is. So as he's going into these new relationships, he is controlling every single person that he's going in, that is going into it. And in the current timeline, he is realizing that he was a puppet, that he was being controlled by this person, and for what, which pretty much led to the devastation, because after the person has got whatever they want from him, they just drop Tyler just like that. The more you listen to a track, the more you kind of get what I mean. Like, and also the instrumentation as well here, it goes back to waving of the wand, which kind of suggests, like, even though I say this, I'm just like thinking, what if I'm going crazy right now with this theory? But with that waving of the wand, it kind of suggests that he that he's going back. He's now realizing what's going on. He's now starting to wake up. He's now starting to face the reality that he's that he's in. This is in the current timeline. So when you hear that wave of one, this was in the current timeline. So in that current timeline, the flashback is done. I see the light. I see the problem. That's what the track "What's Good" was representing. He sees the problem that he had in the previous lives, which all was convoluted. It's like it was all linked to his childhood. It was all linked to the fact that he is so easy to control because of the way he approached the relationship. Even though he's in a different timeline, it's kind of suggesting as well, when you reach this point, it's suggesting that he in that other timeline is incomplete, whereas in this timeline he is complete. He sees the light. When you go into Gone Thank You now, in the current timeline, it suggests that the love is gone. It's like thank you for making me go through this. It's a bit of realization that has gone through here. This is just by going by Ty alone. But in the alternate reality, he's chasing for a love that he can never obtain. The alternate reality, it suggests that he's trying so hard to cope with the fact that he can't find love. So he says that love is gone. However, it also suggests that the flashback has been brought to an end, and it brings him back into the present day, and he has basically let go of the devastation, the suffering, and he has accepted reality that it has actually happened. This is when I thought, okay, cool, this is when the story ended. This is when we're now going back to one constant and one timeline. One was alternate, it was being explored, but the other was it was a current timeline. However, one line really much threw me off again, and that says, I hate wasted potential. It got me thinking, what do you mean by you hate wasted potential? Like, the person left you, because when you listen back to Earthquake, Tyler wasn't in control of that devastation. It was like he was begging her to stay. So what are you talking about? You hate wasted potential? You can't say I hate wasted. I guess you can, in the sense that if the girl left, yeah, they could have had so much. Yeah, actually you can. So this kind of nullifies my alternate theory. No, it doesn't. This suggests that this is also a callback to the alternate reality, suggesting that he is saying goodbye to yet another lover, and he's going to find another lover to probably love again. And the next track, I Don't Love You Anymore, is the reason why I say that, because I don't love you anymore. Those voices could have been Tyler in a different alternate universe where he's still stuck as a little boy, which is where you hear that kind of childish kind of tone to him, where he says like, I don't love you anymore, like things like that. That sounds very childish to me. Again, he is so good at this duality that it's got me thinking. I'm going crazy by thinking that there's another alternate reality, but at the same time I can't help but think that there's another alternate reality, because again, he is demonstrating how he's been going through in this alternate reality to say to people, I don't love you anymore, we tried, this is not love, whatever it may be, it's not working out, blah blah. But at the same time, it also shows in the current timeline that this is someone accepted the fact that it's over. But however, the violin, the way that it was being used in the end, especially when it says this may be better for us, again, I'm thinking, what do you mean this may be better for us? Like, the girl broke up with you. What do you mean this may be better for us? Like, how? Like, imagine a breakup is happening, but in Earthquake it was already done. It was already like, he wasn't like he was done. The person was moved. So are you telling me that in your flashback, like, let's say that he was actually flashing back and looking back on the things that are done, that he actually said to this girl, this may be better for? No, he didn't. This is why I think that he is in an alternate timeline where he's legit telling the people that he's breaking the hearts every single time. I don't love you anymore and all that he's telling them this, that it's better for us to not try this anymore, that he's gonna look for love elsewhere. And And when the girls ask him, are we still friends? This is the final track of the album, and this was the penultimate part of the album. I think it's important in this part of the album to actually pay attention to the cadence that's being used here, because this is when another theory was presented to me, which was the extra voices that you hear that were not of Tyler's voice, that were not of his natural voice. Those were this story may have been told from the perspective of the lover. Those voices could have been Tyler in a different alternate universe where he's still stuck as a little boy, which is where you hear that kind of childish kind of tone to him, where he says like, I don't love you anymore, that things like that. That sounds very childish to me. That sounds like he is, still a child in his head. So he hasn't really grown up yet. So he hasn't faced the earthquake that made him grow up to the Tyler that says, I don't want to end this on a bad episode. However, that being said, like with him saying I can't, you need to again pay attention to the cadence here, because his voice became a little bit more high pitched near the end, which suggests that when he says I can't, that's actually Tyler in the current timeline. And when he says I don't want to end this on a bad episode, it's basically him accepting to be friends with the lover that he's had. So maybe that that could be the child in him, to continue on the dysfunction by being friends with benefits or whatever you may come up with, But the point is, this is him bringing that duality to a close, bringing that alternate reality to a close, and he's giving you kind of two options here. Like, you can kind of look at it and reflect on your relationships from the lover's perspective, and this is what you're gonna get if you were to go into a relationship. There is also the current timeline of you can reflect it and grow. If you've had a bad breakup, you can look at it and grow and say no to being friends no to being friends if you don't want to be friends with them, because you know what road that will lead. And again, looking at what Tyler has gone through from earthquake onto are we still friends, I wouldn't want to be friends either, because that sounds like suffering. No joke, that sounds like he's been through hell. And looking at it from an alternate point of view, where it's like you need to grow up, because from that alternate timeline, he's going endlessly lover to lover, and having to break people's hearts. So again, it kind of gives you that perspective in which for you to basically choose which one you're gonna follow, which one you're gonna listen to, or what you're gonna learn from it. This was a work of art, man. I gave it a 90 out of 100. As a rating, I was very impressed with this. This theory could be completely wrong, or I could have just hit the nail on the head. I would never know. I think I need to know Tyler to actually figure this out. And I've been looking everywhere for interviews of him to kind of shed a light on this album, and I haven't found any. Honestly, this album is a work of art. I don't have any criticism of it. I mean, there's only one song I have here I will take into sets, which is basically Earthquake. But even with that, it's not that kind of album. This album reflected Tyler's growth, and as an artist, as a person, the amount of work the amount of thought that has gone into this album, the cadence to the way he delivers his lyrics, the use of different tones. It's like he's been studying for a very long time, and he's delivered an album that has been given so much duality in it that it can be taken in any way possible, and it's still very simplistic, that you can literally listen to it start to finish, and the message that you get is breakups suck. I was so excited when I heard this album. I actually paid attention to it, and I was like, okay, these are what it potentially means. I love this album, and I really recommend that you all take your time to listen to this. Thank you so much for checking out this review. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Quality has dipped a little bit, and I do apologize for that, but I am working as hard to really improve the quality. It's been really it's been really tough. It's been really tough. But anyway, that being said, though, this album was exactly what I was looking for. I didn't think that there would be an album in this rich in concept after Kendrick Lamar, but it was really good to see. It was really refreshing to hear as well. To hear an artist take so much care with his cadence, with the ideas and themes that is brought forth. I'm not gonna compare this to Flower Boy at all. I just think that this is a work of art on its own. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with this, and I don't think a good art should be critiqued. I personally think you should go out and buy the vinyl copy of this, sit back and just let your mind go on a trip, because there's so much you can learn from this album. There's so many ways this album can take you that will make you fall in love with Tyler the Creator, as well as the entire album. Now, in terms of the old DJ Khaled and the old Tyler Creator thing, DJ Khaled is a dick.